Hey everybody, this is Mark, and I just wanted to take today's video and demonstrate for you, maybe you're newer to the harp like I am, and I have been extraordinarily blessed and privileged to, in a short period of time, since August of 2018, this is January of 2019, to be able to accumulate 3 harps. At a time when I wasn't even sure if I'd be able to afford one. But sometimes that happens, and I'm really blessed and fortunate to be able to do that. But I have 3 harps that I want to show you in this video, and none of them, with the exception of the least expensive of them, was purchased new. So I have one harp that is 6 months old. I've had it since August. That's when I began learning harp. Then I have this harp here, which I'll tell you about here in just a minute, which is between 25 and 30 years of age. And then I have another lap harp that is a little over 2 years old. So I'm going to show you 3 different harps. One of them is on the lower end of the price range, but is quite popular even with harpists who are more accomplished than I am, as a good beginner harp, and just to be able to take around with you. It's light. It's easy. It's called the Fireside Harp by Backyard Music. It's in the cardboard harp line, and I'll show you that in a minute. Then I'm going to show you a floor harp. This is a Lorraine 29 string made by Stoney End, and it's fully levered. And I'll talk about those, the levers and things as well. And then I have a double strung harp from Stoney End, which is a couple of years old, that I bought used. So and I'll show you that. So you'll get an idea of double strung. Then I'll talk to you about single strung, both the lap harp and a floor harp. This review is not by a professional. I'm a lifelong musician. I play a lot of instruments. Music is really important to me. But as far as harp goes, I've only been doing harp since August of 2018, so 6 months at this time. But I do have quite an extensive musical background and play a lot of instruments. So I just want to give you an idea of the sound and then my thoughts on them. If you're just getting into harp or thinking about getting another harp and trying to decide on larger, smaller, single strung, double strung, whatever. All right, so let's get into talking about these 3 harps. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is my large harp. This is a Lorraine 29. It's made with cherry wood. It's made by Stoney End in Red Wing, Minnesota. And it has the distinctive heart shape cutout here at the top of the soundboard. All Stoney End harps have that. And it's actually a functional purpose as well as a decorative purpose. It provides for more resonance and ability for the soundboard to vibrate. And since the harp maker decided he wanted to cut out a relief there anyway, according to a video on their YouTube page, he just decided many years ago to make it a harp-shaped cutout, and it's been that way ever since. So this harp is nearly, it's somewhere between 25 and 30 years of age, I guess, maybe even a little bit older than that. I know that it is the old design that they made, and Gary at Stoney End changed the design on these, this part here, over 25 years ago. So the serial number on this harp is 0143. 1430. That's what it is, 1430. And so it's an older harp. As is typical with some of these older harps, and why he changed the design on this model, is, as you can see here in the front, it's not an optical illusion. With this Gothic style, it actually goes up above the video there, and maybe I should change the angle just a little bit so you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to go back before I play, but so you can see it's quite tall up here, and it's the Gothic design, which I absolutely love. But from the side you can't tell, but from the front you can see that over time the tension from the strings, and there's a lot of tension, 1,000 pounds plus, I think, I could be wrong, tension from all of these 29 strings on this peak, and it bows it over a little bit. And so what Gary did when I bought this harp used, actually, was send me this brass plate. It's very decorative and beautiful, but it just reinforces that joint, and then this harp should be good for many years. Now, some people wouldn't want a harp that was already bowed over like that because maybe they don't think it looks as aesthetically pleasing, but hey, sometimes the best things in life show a little bit of sign of wear and tear and having been used and well loved. For this harp to have survived as many years as it has without any cracks and dents and dings and the soundboard in good condition, this harp was loved and it was taken care of, and I'm thrilled to be able to have it in my collection. So I'm going to move the video back now so that you can see more of the harp when I play. So this is a single strung harp, and it's strung from low G up to a high G, 4 octaves on this harp, 29 strings, and I absolutely adore the sound of it. It has a wonderful, Stoney Ends are known for their resonant sound. Just a beautiful, beautiful tone to these harps. So some people want more than 29 strings, but for me, that was enough. And maybe someday I'll buy a brand new lever harp with 34 strings plus. But for now, this 29 string is fine. And I just love the deep resonant sound of this harp. So what I'm going to do on each of the 3 harps is I'm going to play the same song. It's a simple arrangement of Sally Gardens, and that way you'll be able to hear this song on all 3 harps. And then in the video description, I'll provide timestamps so that you don't have to listen to all my jabber talk. You can just go quickly from one song to the other and be able to compare the sounds between the cardboard harp, the Stoney End floor harp, and then the double strung harp. So let me give you just a sample of Sally Gardens with the Stoney End 29 string harp. All right, let's move on to the next harp. So the next harp I want to talk to you about is the very first harp that I bought 6 months ago, and that is a Fireside harp from Backyard Music in, well, somewhere in Connecticut. I can't remember the exact town in Connecticut. But Dave Magnuson has been making these harps, I believe, since the 80s. And when I was looking for a harp, I wanted something. One, I didn't know if I was going to stick with the harp. And secondly, I didn't have $1,000 plus to spend on a harp. So I went looking and I found what is commonly called the cardboard harp line. And the reason it's called that is because the soundboard, the sound box, is made out of a heavy-duty corrugated cardboard. So, I mean, it's very sturdy, really is. Unless it gets wet, this thing is going to last for years. Interestingly enough, should something happen to damage the soundboard, it's held on by wood glue. Then for, at this time, about $15, I can buy another sound box from Dave and take this off, clean off the glue, and reattach another sound box, and I'm good to go. So this harp has 22 strings. Now, I know a lot of people would prefer to have something much larger, but for a beginner, for a lap harp, this worked fine for me. If you're a harp teacher and you totally disagree that 22 strings is good for a beginner, then I bow to your expertise. I'm just speaking for myself. That when I was looking, I thought 22 strings, that'll be enough. That's 3 octaves, and it goes again from G to G, from low G to high G, and it is the G below middle C. So the lowest note on this harp is middle C. And that doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me. So anyway, later you can purchase this with all levers, but I purchased it without levers to begin with, so it was tuned in the key of C. And then in the last few months, I've gone ahead and added levers, purchased them from Dave, some Loveland levers, and I added them to the C's and F's so that I could increase the ability to play in the key of C, the key of G, and the key of D, along with the relative minors. So I most often now will tune this and flip the F levers and play in the key of G. But because I played the Stoney End harp in the key of C, I'm going to play this in the key of C as well. Now, this is a much lighter tension string, and it is also a brighter sound. My wife has said that this harp often reminds her of a music box, especially as you get up towards the top. Right, so it's just a nice tinkly, sparkling sound, and I really like it. But the sound box does have a good resonation. Resonation? I don't know the right word. It does sound nice, and as you learn to play, you'll find that the sustain increases. At least I have. My technique is still far from perfect, but I'm working at it, and the better I get at it, the better sound the harp gets. So what does it sound like? Well, I'm going to play, this is a lap harp, so what I do is, you can't see, but I cross my feet in most cases, and I wedge the harp between my knees, and that holds it at the right height for me. I've also installed a guitar strap on it, so if I'm standing, it's very, very light, 10 or 12 pounds, no problem there whatsoever, and I'm able to stand and play it. I could do it for hours with no pain in my back or shoulders, but I'm just going to do it seated here, and I'm going to play the same song. First, let me just let you hear the sound of this harp from bottom to top. So again, it just has that very, very nice sound. And the sustain continues. So let me play just a few measures of Sally Garden so you can get the idea of this this harp. Isn't that nice? It's very, very pretty. And I play this in nursing homes and in the homes for some of our elderly shut-in in our church, and they absolutely love it. And again, it's light, very light. I mean, good night. You can hold it with one hand. I'm not a super strong guy. You can hold it with one hand. Very light, very easy to move around, and just a beautiful, beautiful little harp. I actually bought this as a kit and assembled it myself. You can buy it fully assembled, but for $300 or less, I mean, starting at about $300 or less, you can get this harp from Dave Magnuson at Backyard Music and just have a very, very nice harp to have and to learn on and to play. Again, 3 octaves doesn't give you, massive amount of range, but just for playing simple songs, it's fine. And in a therapy type setting, or in a just around the house, maybe you don't have a lot of room, this is an apartment friendly harp. So the Fireside harp, it's a cardboard harp. I think the other one that I've not tried is called a wearing harp, and I've never tried that, but it's similar. It has the same cardboard sound box, but it has a strict triangular shape instead of this what's called the harmonic curve. So, and I think the harmonic curve allows you to be able to add some levers, where in the wearing harp you cannot. But I don't have any experience with that harp. So anyway, Fireside harp. So we have the large harp, we have the Fireside harp. Now I want to move on to the double strung harp. Okay, so the last harp that I want to talk about, because it's the last harp that I have, is this double strung harp. I bought this harp used. It's a little over 2 years old. I don't know the exact date on it, but again, this is a Stoney End harp. So it has the heart shape cutout up here at the top. This is a little bit different design. It's not the it's not the Gothic design, and this is called the Brittany. It's a Brittany 22 string double. They also make the Brittany in a single strung, but this is double strung, and I've been intrigued with the possibilities and sound of a double strung harp. Some of the reason is, and by the way, I'm not a double strung aficionado like Carolyn Deal. I mean, she is the most prolific uploader of double strung harp videos anywhere on YouTube. And if you look up Carolyn Deal or you just search double strung harp, you're going to find her videos, and they're incredibly helpful. And she has such a great personality on those videos. So I encourage you, if you're interested in double strung, to check that out. But this is a side-by-side parallel set of strings, 22 strings on each side. This also goes from G to G. All three of my harps go from low G to high G. Again, just like on my Fireside harp, this is the G below middle C. So the notes are exactly the same as on my Fireside harp. Parallel set of strings. This is not cross-strung. This is parallel strung. And both sets of strings are the same note. So when I pluck both of the low G's, it's the same note. So let's see here. Okay, so it's the exact same note. Now, I suppose you could retune or flip levers on one side for the accidentals that you have. Honestly, at this stage in my harp journey, getting into lever changes in the midst of songs and all that is not something that I do a lot of. This harp did come with C's and F levers on both sides, which is nice. So again, I will most often flip the F levers and be able to play in the key of G. With this harp, starting down on the low G, I have found that playing in the key of D means I'm playing up really high, which I prefer to play as low as possible because this is such a small range to begin with. Again, 3 octaves. The double-strung harp is not as well known in the harp world, and it's by no means a red-headed stepchild, but it's not as well known. Many people struggle with a double-strung harp because of the 2 rows of strings and their eyes cross and they get dizzy. That just takes some time to get used to. But there is so much to love about a double-strung harp, such as just the depth of sound. Because of the double strings both resonating, the soundboard vibrating, and also what's called the sympathetic vibrations between the opposing sets of strings amplifies the sustain on this double-strung harp and just makes really for a deep, angelic. When I say deep sound, I'm not talking about the pitch. I'm talking about the depth of tone. It reaches into your very soul. Sometimes when I'm playing this harp, I can feel the vibrations in my body, unlike either of the other 2 harps that I play. So it's just a very, very pretty harp, and I do think that more and more people are going to be playing the double-strung harp in the years ahead. It's obviously more expensive because it's 2 sets of strings. It has the advantage, however, of providing some stability on the frame because the same amount of tension is on both sides, so that evens that out. So this is just a very, very beautiful harp, and this has some artwork that the previous owner placed on it, which I value tremendously. And so I'm gonna play the exact same song as I played with the other one. This is made out of cherry wood. You can get it, I think, also in walnut from Gary at Stoney End, but this one is made in cherry, which is just like my other Stoney End harp. So I'm thankful for that. But let me play. What was I playing? Sally Gardens. Just a little bit of Sally Gardens so you can hear. Before I do that, let me mention again the benefit of the double-strung harp is that I wouldn't necessarily play traditionally with one hand up here and one hand down here because I don't have to worry about my hands meeting each other. They can actually play the same notes opposing each other, and it just adds to the effect. So I'm going to be doing that here on this harp, and I'm actually going to lower this down just a little bit, and I'm going to be doing that, and hopefully you'll be able to hear just the beauty of this sound. So another thing that I'll mention, because I keep doing this, is that the Brittany comes with a much heavier gauge string than the Fireside harp, so the tension on the strings is much greater, which takes some getting used to, but I'm loving as well. So let me play a little bit of Sally Garden. That is one of the most calming sounds that I know. Again, my technique is not perfect, my playing is not professional grade, and most of you looking for harps are not professional harpists either. If you are, you stopped watching this video after the first 30 seconds. But if you're like me and you're a musical hack, you just love music and you've been looking for a harp, I've shown you 3 different harps. The only one that was brand new that I paid full price for was the Fireside harp, and honestly, I had less than $250 in that, and that's very affordable as harps go. And so look for used harps. Let me talk for just a moment about used harps before I end this video. If you want to buy a brand new harp, go ahead and do that. If you have the money, go for it. But I was encouraged early on not to discount the value of a used harp that was well maintained, and here's the reason that I was told. Harps take time for the wood to come into for the harp to come into its voice. The soundboard of the harp, the belly of the harp they call it, it rises up, comes up in like a dome. And as that's happening, the voice of the harp is changing, the wood is settling in, and as it ages, the sound of the harp actually not increases, but the depth of it increases. So I can tell you from experience that playing on a 25 to 30-year-old harp, it just has such a resonance and such a sustain. I have no regrets whatsoever of buying an older, well-maintained harp. You want to contact a harp maker. If you're looking at a used harp, contact the harp maker if they're still available and ask them what specifically to look for by way of problems before you purchase a used harp. So do your homework, but don't be afraid of it just because it's used. You might get a better instrument used than you could afford new. So don't discount that. Again, the only new one I have is my Fireside harp, and I love it, but I'm thankful and I have no regrets whatsoever at either purchasing the larger Stoney End harp or the double strung Brittany. I hope this has been helpful, and if you're still watching, thank you. Hey, subscribe to this channel if you wouldn't mind, and let me know your thoughts and comments in the section below, and I try to respond just as often as I can. Have a great day, everybody.